President Trump says the Kennedy Center in Washington will close for 2 years for, quote, major renovations, raising questions about the future of performances and federal support for the arts.
Let's not forget, Trump essentially raped the Kennedy Center.
Yikes, that's a strong word.
It's a strong word, and I use it advisedly. He took over as chair. He appointed a board of sycophants who would do anything he wanted. He got this toady board to agree to put his name on it.
Toady.
And not only put his name on it, but put his name first.
That's crazy. On a
Kennedy.
memorial. It's supposed to be a memorial building.
He may be brain dead, but he's not officially dead yet, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. So, that's why I use the term rape.
Yeah.
He's turned it into a personal vehicle. And like everything he touches, he destroys it or corrupts it.
Why do you think he's doing this?
All right. First of all, let's put it in context.
Okay.
There has been a huge backlash against what Trump has done to the Kennedy Center.
Right.
Ticket sales have plummeted. For the first time, you see large numbers of empty seats at, Kennedy Center performances, which are usually the highlight of performances in Washington, D.C., and typically have very robust audiences. Now it's the bust, not the robust audiences. And on top of that, some of the most eminent, most backable performers have dropped out.
Yeah.
And specifically dropped out in protest to Trump's rape of the Kennedy Center.
I think you need another word. That's a little triggering.
Yeah, but I think it's the most accurate word I can come up with. It's really, it's a desecration. Is what it is. Just as a rape is a desecration of a human being, this is a desecration of a sacred building.
I don't know why though. That whole idea of like, oh, he's not selling tickets. They're getting axed to. It seems like too simple of an explanation. I mean, to close the place for 2 years because you're not selling seats. I feel like there's got to be something more.
I haven't given you my explanation yet. Oh, I was simply filling in some background, talking about the plummeting ticket sales and the burgeoning cancellations. The list is much too long for me to even begin to go through, but just let me give you a few highlights. Hamilton, right, Sam?
I love Hamilton.
I love it. It was a premiere show for the Kennedy Center. Was one of the first to cancel. And the producer said that we are canceling because what Trump has done to the Kennedy Center flies in the face of everything this national center represents. Has Trump been a great supporter and patron of the arts? Not hardly.
Not that I know of.
I know he likes aside from everything else, he hardly merits, putting his name on the center along with Kennedy. And the presidencies could not have been more in contrast. Kennedy was a charismatic, humane, farsightful leader. He steered us through the worst crisis in recent times, the Cuban Missile Crisis. He turned around from being a unremitting Cold War to a peacemaker. He negotiated the most important treaty in the history of the world. You know what that was, Sam?
The Bands Treaty, right?
Yes, the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, the partial, that stopped us from poisoning our oceans, our atmosphere, and the soil. You might not be around, Sam, if not for that treaty.
Yikes.
He and his wife represented high culture in the nation's capital. Nothing, and he, had very strong public approval ratings. And since his assassination, many in the public and many scholars like myself have lamented its effect on our nation. I don't buy into the old Camelot myth, but nonetheless, the Kennedy administration was a high point of people's belief and confidence in their government, the belief that government was working for ordinary people. It has since plummeted and has hit, a near low point under Donald Trump, who thinks he should be putting his name arbitrarily ahead of that of John F. Kennedy. It's a travesty, and it's not even clear it's legal, Sam, right?
Right.
The Kennedy Center was created by an act of Congress. Not that Trump cares, you know.
Congress? He doesn't care about Congress.
He doesn't care about anything but himself. Doesn't care about the Congress. Doesn't care about the courts. And there are lawsuits challenging what he's done. Now, the reasons why. I think, in part, it is to save himself the embarrassment of all of these cancellations. Let me go over some of them. I mean, they're incredible. Hamilton, the extraordinary composer Philip Glass, who withdrew the world premiere of his symphony celebrating Lincoln. Trump has compared himself to Lincoln. It's like myself comparing myself to the heavyweight champion of the world in terms of boxing. That's how far off it is.
You do that all the time to me.
I do, yeah. You're right. At 5'6", 150, I'm ready to take him on. Rhonda Fleming, the Grammy-winning soprano, the renowned Martha Graham Dance Company, the renowned Washington National Opera, Sam. I did something on opera. How about that?
Shout out to my friend Elliot Antokis. I've been to a few National Washington opera.
The great
events.
Issa Rae. And here's a very ironic one, the U.S. Marine Band.
Really?
Yeah, Trump has always touted himself as the great champion of the military. This is just a sampling. So one element of this, Trump hates being embarrassed. It's the one thing he can't easily turn around. You can turn around attacks. Embarrassment is something else. Very difficult for Trump to deal with. Doesn't want to be embarrassed by empty seats. Doesn't want to be embarrassed by all these cancellations. Second reason, it's the same thing he's doing to the White House. He wants to reconstruct the Kennedy Center to put his own garish mark on it. Look what he's done to the White House with his marble and gilding everything, trying to turn it into a Palace of Versailles of the French kings. He wants to do the same thing to the Kennedy Center. And I was watching his press conference about that. And he said, we need these renovations. The Kennedy Center's falling apart. Well, there was a major renovation just 7 years ago. They didn't give us any specific information of why a huge renovation is needed again after just 7 years. And he said, this is building, and I'm really great and successful at building. Again, that's a bit like me saying I'm really successful at heavyweight boxing. It couldn't be farther from the truth. The world is littered with Donald Trump's failed building prospects. Just look at the hole in the wall in the holes in the ground in Tampa and Fort Lauderdale, the disasters in Atlantic City, in Canada, in the Caribbean, in Eastern Europe. Trump's failures are littered all over the world. He doesn't build anything.
I'm going to say, he hasn't built anything in forever. He just sells his
Now he
name.
just sells his name because he can't build anything.
Right.
What he's tried is such a failure. Then look at his other enterprises that have failed. Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump Air, Trump University, Trump Institute. The failures just mount up. What Trump is really good at is not building, constructing anything, not starting businesses, but two things. One, somehow escaping every failure he's had, and there are dozens of them, unscathed. Somehow it's always someone else who is hurt, like the bankruptcies. Somehow he didn't actually pay anything in his bankruptcies, as far as I could tell, or very little, and use them to get a huge, I think it was about a $70 million tax return from the government, tax refund.
So your two main points are that he's embarrassed and he wants to make his mark on it. But couldn't he do both of those things without shutting it down, don't you think?
No? I don't see how he could do both of those ventures without shutting it down. I still think
there's something that we don't know. That's
there always is with Trump, but
it feels very
the unknown, right? It's not the known unknown, it's the unknown unknown.
It just feels very strange and sketchy to me. I don't know.
But I think those two motives are, given who Trump is, are pretty powerful motives. So the one thing that Trump is the best ever at is escaping accountability no matter what he does. Thanks for watching our video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a member today.